I want to share my two of my very useful tools that I use for my workflows. Yeah, so I'm going to share my screen and then we follow along as I continue. So first of all, I start by sharing my workflow. Like basically, let me just share my screen. Then I hope everyone can follow along. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So I'm hoping everyone can see that now. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll start with this Google document to discuss what we are doing basically. So we are linking an Angular application with Node.js for everyone who's not up to speed with the going on. So what you need to follow along is an Angular application. I'll take you guys through how to create a simple Angular application. You need a Node.js backend. Again, I'll do that. I'll create a small, just a workable Node.js application that has one endpoint which we due to the fact that it might take a bit more time. Number three, you'll need a console. Uh, you can work with the uh, graphic user interface if you like, if that's your jam. I like using personally. I like using a console. It's much more. I find it much more uh, connection to download the packages on the fly and commit your local changes to GitHub. Yeah, and a text editor, obviously. Yeah. So we're assuming for this tutorial that you know a few um, functionalities of Angular, e.g. dependency injection, which we are going to use to, inject our service into our application, and just a little bit of how Node.js works, yeah. And why would you need to connect the two of them? Why would you need to go all the way if you can access for instance, if you can access an endpoint directly from probably um, a browser, for instance, if you have access to from the Angular front side, why would you? The reason for me, I find that if you have a big application, you need to create several endpoints which will help you access probably a database. I use a database, for instance, that has a lot of data that you need to, show from the front side there. So yeah, so for you to create a full stack application, you will basically need to do what I'm going to show you guys. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to share a few of the hacks that I've learned along the way as we continue here, and I'm hoping you guys will have fun. Yeah. All right. So um, basically, we'll start by accessing. Okay, I'm using my console, which is a Bash terminal for Windows. Uh, I just I just get everyone to, you know, my projects, which is at my documents. So for that, right. So here I have created an application. Um, okay, so I already have an application which I've created there. So I'm not going to waste a lot of you guys' time. So I'll just show you my application and how it runs. And then I'll explain as we go, yeah? I don't have to type so much, yeah? So on this, I have created at this location, I've created an application called the mean application to go with the theme of today, which is the mean workflow. So on the main application, I have the test app, which is the Angular application. As you can see, it has all the files. When you use the command, which is the ng, sorry, ng application name, it will give you basically these files here. So we need to get to the application, which is in the source folder and the app here. And we basically need to make sure that this application works. Yeah. So what I'll do here is that I'll open uh, my application on the source on VS Code.
Hi, Eric. Just a quick
Yeah.
one. Is it possible
Right.
to just please zoom in?
Oh, okay. You guys can see very well. Yeah.
It's a bit small for some.
Okay. Okay. You guys can see now. Yeah. Hello. Can everyone see now?
Yes. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
All right. So we've created an application up to this point, and we want to see that the application works. What I've done is that I've served this application on the browser. Now, for our purposes, I didn't want to create a whole front side. I just want to show that. So this application just works on the front end. So first of all, I removed all the boilerplate code just to have the basics. I just created a button here that says show user. Yeah? So from this button, it's supposed to give us, when you click show user, you're supposed to get a user, one user. Yeah. All right. So once we are done with the Angular side, I would like us guys to create one application on the backend, yeah, using Node.js. All right, so I already have an application that I have created on the on the backend. To catch you guys up, you just use npm. Let me just show you guys. So to create an application, you just run npm init, yeah? And then you give it the option y, yeah? Just to run you through the application. No, for me, I've already created an application on the backend. So basically, the application is on this location. Yeah. So my application, my backend is called at this point is called Backend. Yeah. So this application, let me just show you what it contains. Let me just run you guys through what it has. Yeah. Uh, Hi, everyone is with me. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So we are at this point where we are on the Node.js backend side there. So I have created this application which I call the BKNEND, and it has the basically just has the index.js. Yeah. So here on the index.js, I had already um, created an Express server which um, runs on port 4000. If everyone can, yeah. So this is the port. Yeah. So to tell the application where to get to serve the application from, you just specify the port through the process.env.port. Yeah, and then call it from the app.listen lifestyle hook. Yeah, lifecycle hook. Sorry. All right. So basically my application is I just have one endpoint which I've labeled here endpoint, which just points to the API, to the keyword API, and then it just serves through JSON my name, my email, an example email, and an example password. Yeah. So what we should be able to see from the front side is this information here: my name, my email, and my password. Yeah. To know that it actually works. All right. So basically, before we even go very far, we are supposed to see that from our front end. So we will go ahead and test that. So when we go to localhost for 4200, it should display the data. Or rather, if you access this information from Postman, you should get that. Sorry, just give me a second. All right. So if you, for you to make sure that the endpoint actually works, when you access it from, everyone can see this, yeah?
Yes.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Sorry, my internet connection is a bit wonky, but we proceed. Kindly ignore the backend noise. Yeah? All right. So we were man, and now we want to see if our front side can get the data. Yeah? All right. So back into my front end application, I created a service uh, where I've created an observable, which okay. So this service is what I'm going to inject on the application on the all right. So this I should be able to get my application my service. I should be able to inject the service onto onto here on my application, yeah, on my first application. Yeah. So what I started by defining my URL, which is localhost 4000. And then I created a HTTP a variable, a private variable from the HTTP client, which I'm going to use to access my URL, my create an observable with. Yeah. So I also created a function which is called get user, which is an observable and that returns the data from the backend. Yeah. All right. So kindly let me take you back a little bit. Here on the backend, you need to have you have to enable CORS first. CORS, which is a cross origin resource service, which allows you to access information over the internet to the backend, yeah, through different you know ports, and URLs. Yeah, so it's a simple process. As you can see, I'll share my code if everyone wants to have a look at it. Yeah. So um, so from my service, all right. So my service is ready to be injected to the application. All right. So I started by creating from the constructor. I created a variable called bs, which is of type backend service, which I'm going to use to inject my service on this front end. Huh. So here, what I've done is that I've subscribed to the service, to the function which is in the service, to the get user service, yeah, so that I can get the, my user to be able to show it on the front end. So whenever I open this application through localhost 4200, like so, I should be able to first of all see the button, which is the show user button, and then um, whenever I open the developer console, I should be able to, when I click show user, I should be able to get one user, which is Eric. All right. So here I'm getting an error. Uh, so clearly there's an issue. Kindly allow me to sort it out.
Hello, I think you're
Yeah.
missing something. I think you're
Yeah.
hitting the wrong endpoint. kwa Postman tulikuwa umeweka /API, then hapo umeweka
Yeah.
yeah, so
Oh yes.
yeah.
Oh yes. Thank you, Wayne. Thank you for that. All right.
Anytime.
Sorry for that. I've been a bit new today. All right. So from my application, I should change something. There's something I had. Yeah. All right. So hapa kwa service is where I had omitted something. This /API. Yeah. This should enable me to access the API from when I hit that button. Yeah. It should show me a user. Right. Like so. So this basically shows that I'm getting the user from the backend, okay, through my service. Now, clearly, remember that you will not be, if you have not activated cause on the backend, you will have a cause error over here. Kila mtu anaona, eh? All right. Okay, so this shows that my application works both the backend and the front end. So basically, what we need to do is do three things. All right. These three things will enable my application work from one URL, which basically can represent my application on a server somewhere, which I can, if I'm posting this application on a server, I can access it as a whole from one URL. So the first step, I'll write all these steps on my Word document. Kindly just follow along. All right, so the first thing I need to do is go back to my code and then go to, I create an application, I create a file called proxy.conf.json. So I had already created this. So from this proxy.conf, I have to specify the path, which is /API, and then the target. So whenever my application hits this path, it should automatically go to localhost full colon 4000. Yeah, this is my backend, right? This is to tell Angular that this is where all my HTTP calls will be directed to, right? So after this, I need to create something called, I need to build my application, right? So what I'll need to do to build my application, I just need to access my application, I just need to go to my console, and then I type ng build. So ng build will build my application and then create one file which can be now served from the backend, right? Now, the reason we are doing this is because we need a modified version of our application, which does not have a lot of boilerplate code and that puts together all the goodies of Angular, all the stuff that makes Angular work well, put it in one file, which can now be easily run by Node.js, by my Express server. All right. So ng build will build my application to a location which I can specify here at package.json, right? So here in package, sorry, it's sorry, just a minute. It is on yes. So instead of it's package.-lock.json. That's where you can specify where your application will be served, will build from. Sorry, it is Angular. Sorry, just a minute. So it is on Angular.json where you can specify where your application will be built to, right? Which folder it can be built to, right? So my application is basically specified to be built into my dist folder. So going to be built into the dist test app folder, right? So whenever I hit build, it will be built to a folder called dist, which is over here. So I've already built my application. It is now minified into this folder, which I can copy and then put it in as a singular folder where I can serve it from. All right, so what we do next after we specified this is to go back to our backend here and specify something. Here in our middleware, we need to specify to Express where our dist folder is. So in this case, I'll just copy my dist folder into this backend folder, then named just specified to Express using app.use express.static process.current working directory plus /dist /test app /. So this will tell Express where my minified version of the application is. So from this, so if I stop my server, for instance, yeah. So if I restart my server, application now knows where the front end application is. Now, if we were to run this application, just run the 4200, it should give us a button, all right? And this button will serve, will now be, we should be able now to access the user, all right? So as you can see, it gets the user, all right? Now, the advantage of this is that I'm running the application from one URL, which is localhost 4200, and getting all the data from the backend. Yeah. Yeah. Now, now the advantage again is that I can just take this whole folder, which is in the scripts, the main application folder. Now, this folder called backend is a full application. If I move it to another location, for instance, Control C. Let me just stop my servers. All right, so I've moved this folder to a new location. Then right, so if I run this application, remember now it's a new, we are assuming this is a new application. If I now run it npm run dev, if I run it afresh and then access this same application from 4200, I should get the same. Sorry, just a sec. Just debug my code kidogo. Sorry, just a second. My dist folder is the old dist folder, so I have to renew it. I have to rebuild my application. All right, so these are some of the problems you run into if you if you work the same way I've worked. All right, so I need to access my application, which is in the scripts, main application. All right, so I need to rebuild my application. Yeah. So the good thing with Angular is that if you run the ng build again, it will just replace the old dist folder. It will just renew the contents of the dist folder. Remember, we had changed the URL. We had, the initial URL did not have /API. That is why application is refusing to run. So now the new dist folder will have the updated content, and these ones should now run from the backend, right? So our dist folder, if I can just copy it, Control C. All right. So if I stop my server right now, I should be able now to get my application running. All right. So All right, guys. Sorry about that. I was copying my data into the wrong folder. So, yeah. My application now, I've copied it to a new location. This is to simulate committing my documents to GitHub. Now, if the URL I get from GitHub, if I serve my application from GitHub, I should be able to get my data the same way. So this is how now to connect the two technologies together. And I hope you guys, I hope I did not lose any of you guys. Yeah, and that is my information for today. So if anyone wants to follow along, this is what we did today. Yeah, we started by creating an Angular application, and then we created a Node.js backend, and then we connected the two through dependency injection and a few tweaks here and there of the node application. Yeah, and now we have an application that runs from the front end through one URL. All right. So if anyone has a question, I think I can now start taking questions. Hello, is everyone with me?
Yes, we are here. I have a question.
Yes, please.
You've talked about cause error.
Yes.
Would you please expound more on it and how to avoid it?
All right. So cause is basically a way for HTTP, the HTTP workflow to stop applications from interacting with each other through the internet without the proper authorization. So basically, cause is a way for your server to refuse access to unauthorized users. Yeah. So basically, when you create an application um, through Angular and Node.js, initially you'll be refused access to any of the backend services. Yeah. And for you to overcome that, you have to set up cause access from the backend through first of all installing the cause the cause package, which is shown here, and then creating a constant called cause, and then by you just write a middleware for it by writing just one line of code, which is app.use cause. Yeah? So now this tells Express that any app, then it can access, it can allow any it can allow any user from any URL to access the resources, to access this endpoint. All right. Now, if you want to, you can customize this cause. You can access, you can specify which endpoint specifically you want your resources to be accessed by. All right. This would help. This is a good security measure to make sure that not every person in the department is accessing a particular resource on the backend. So I hope I have answered your question. I'm speaking
Yes,
to
you have. Joy.
Joy. Yeah, so I hope I have answered your question.
Yes, you have.
All right. Any other person?
Any?
Yes. So
Anyone else with a question? Anyone else with a question, comments?
yes, kindly let us know if I have maybe skipped something or if I need to redo something. Yes, Alex.
Just
I can
Hello.
see.
feel free to unmute yourself. Yes.
Hi,
Yes,
Alex.
good evening. Hello, hi.
Evening, Alex.
Yes. Mine is just a comment. I know that issue of cause is a very common thing when one is working with apps that need to access APIs, and sometimes I've come to situations whereby I'm building a front-end app, but I do not necessarily have access to the backend, and you get hit with that cross-origin error. So just to